Good afternoon to you. I'm Stacey Ann Providence, and C News is live.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed with sport.
Topping the news at this time, shock in central Trinidad. A father and his young daughter were murdered in their sleep. The early morning murder in Mamoral Village rocked the otherwise quiet community. Peter Christopher reports.
It was an eerie morning in Mamoral. 36-year-old Solomon Joseph and his daughter, Celestia Joseph, were found dead in this one-room home. The discovery was made after Joseph's wife, a casino worker at Price Plaza, had been attempting to call him after her shift finished at 3 a.m. When he failed to answer her calls, she contacted a relative who went to check on them. The relative found the man's body partially off the bed and believed he was drunk until he noticed 2 wounds to Joseph's lower chest. They were gunshot wounds. The relative then called the police. The relative initially believed 5-year-old Celestia Solomon, a first-year pupil of Carapo Roman Catholic Primary School, was asleep, unaware that her father had been killed. He was instructed by police to move the child away, but when the relative made the move to do so, he made a second chilling discovery. She had been killed as well. Her neck had been slashed. Relatives told C News they were unaware of any threats to the family. His grandmother told C News that while he had been a part of a rough group in the past, it was believed they had made peace with everyone.
Not from my knowing, I don't know. Because here they have a gang up the road, and he was one of them, and it's gang up and beat up people and things. So I have no enemies to me. All of them, they make best friends and they good. No threats, never.
Police say they have no motive for the killing. The incident has raised the murder toll for the year to 166. Peter Christopher, C News.
And 12 people who have been deported from Turkey are expected to arrive in Trinidad later today. This was confirmed by Acting Deputy Commissioner of Police of Crime and Support, Wayne Dick. At a special Trinidad and Tobago Police Service media briefing earlier today, DCP Dick said information about people being held in Turkey had been in the public domain for some time, and the TTPS sought to clear the air. He said the deportees would not be arrested but interviewed, and while he did not reveal any information as to why the 12 individuals, who consist of men, women and children, will be returning, he said the TTPS has been given limited information from Turkish authorities. When asked if there were any linkages to the 12 deportees and ISIS, the acting DCP responded.
Linking these persons who are expected to arrive with Shane Crawford. 1. We have also no information as to their involvement in any aspect whatsoever as far as ISIS is concerned.
Marcia Caesars will no longer be taking up her new position as a High Court judge. This after the Judicial and Legal Services Commission met and agreed to restore Mrs. Caesars as a magistrate. Following her appointment to the High Court, several attorneys and the Law Association expressed concern that the former Chief Magistrate was leaving the lower court with many of her cases having not concluded. On Wednesday, there was a standoff at the Port of Spain Magistrate Court between prisoners and police. The prisoners expressed frustration by the potential backlog her appointment placed before them. Chief Justice Ivor Archie said in a statement yesterday that Mrs. Caesars had failed to manage the transition from the magistracy to the High Court in a way that ensured undue hardship was not placed on stakeholders. He also said she departed from established practice whereby successful candidates ensured that they fulfilled all outstanding professional obligations before advising the Commission about their availability for appointment to the High Court. He said the Chief Justice and the Commission were not aware of the full extent of her obligation before the lower court. He said, however, he was fortified by her renewed commitment to place her duty and responsibility to the administration of justice ahead of her personal interests. Meanwhile, Opposition Senator Gerald Ramdeen has claimed some responsibility for the resignation of Marcia Caesars as a High Court judge. Speaking at an opposition forum on the property tax at Macaulay Community Centre in Claxton Bay, Mr. Ramdeen said he was the first person to oppose her appointment to High Court bench.
I took it upon myself to write to the Chief Justice. I challenged the decision, and I was feeling the opinion this afternoon Marcia Caesars is the chief magistrate was appointed by Ivor Archie as the chairman of the JLFC and today resigning.
And this is the C News Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com. Or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. The Eric Williams Medical Science Complex has been affected by a power outage from the early hours of this morning. Now, C News understands that the hospital has been operating on backup generators since 3 a.m. today. Peter Christopher updates us in this report.
In a phone interview, Minister of Health Terence Diazing confirmed that the hospital had been without power since the early hours of this morning.
Yes, there's a failure of the electrical supply and all the generators have kicked in and all the essential services are up and running and no one is in danger. And they are working to this, well, first of all, they are working to restore a supply from TNTech and then to discover the cause.
CEO of the North Central Regional Health Authority, Davlin Thomas, however, confirmed the issue stemmed from a feeder cable to the hospital. He explained that auxiliary power had been used to ensure that priority services were still in operation.
We're running in our critical areas. We have the emergency supply via the generators, and that's functioning as planned, and we're currently making the move to switch the cables. So we should be back online by lunchtime with 100%. So we have a small percentage of the redundant supply down, but for all our critical areas, etc., our contingencies kicked in for that.
He said surgeries at the facility went ahead as usual.
The theaters have, we may for other reasons or other related reasons make decisions about whether we continue with 100% of the theater or surgeries, because if we have redundant supply issues, then we may have to focus. So we may have to do that, and we're meeting currently to make some decisions in that regard.
Both the minister and the CEO of the NCRHA said power was expected to restore to the hospital by midday. Peter Christopher, C News.
The opposition is reinforcing its disapproval of government's decision to reintroduce the property tax in this country. On Thursday, the opposition hosted another one of their forums, this time in Mackley, to discuss the incoming taxation, urging the public to join forces with them against the government. Janine Brown reports.
Chairman of the United National Congress, Dr. David Lee, is describing the incoming property tax as draconian as he questions how the government intends for the public to benefit from its implementation.
They want to pass this property tax. They want to collect these taxes. And you know they have not reformed local government. Because they are saying that the money that they collect from property taxes will go towards the different boroughs and corporations to make your community better. But the fact of the matter is that all the taxes they collect will be going towards in the consolidated fund.
Meanwhile, MP Dr. Suraj Ramachan told the residents gathered that they have the power to influence change.
But we as citizens, we are the government.
And we'll try to bring you that full report a little later on today. The property tax can be a good thing if implemented properly. This was the view of economist Valmiki Arjun. Dr. Arjun explained that the tax could work in the country's benefit if used correctly.
The information circulating is that the tax revenue is actually going to be allotted to the central government, the consolidated fund. But the spirit of the property tax really isn't for that particular purpose. Globally, when property taxes are paid, they go towards the various municipalities, the various corporations, the various communities for the purpose of local government upgrades. So they go for example for upgrading the various schools in the community. They go towards upgrading the various road infrastructure.
However, he is concerned that the necessary groundwork to be done for the implementation of the tax appears to be inadequate. This, he said, could mean that government may not be able to reap those benefits at this time.
All of this, as I mentioned, is going to take a large amount of more technology and more human capital, more labor. And that begs the question, do we actually have enough time to institute the structure in place in order to implement this particular property tax. And I really don't think that we have sufficient time for that. So that begs the question, are we really going to see revenues from the property tax even being collected at this particular year?
And now for a look at the weather forecast for the period today until midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, generally hot, sunny and hazy conditions expected today with the odd showers likely in a few areas. Tonight will be mostly clear and warm. A day of political battles in the Sipara Regional Corporation as a motion of no confidence is moved on its chairman, Dr. Glenn Ramadar Singh, and the chief executive officer. The motion was moved by PNM Alderman Christopher Encinas.
I hereby give notice of a motion of no confidence in the chairman of the Superior Regional Corporation, Dr. Glenn Ramadar Singh. And I also want to attach to that motion a motion of no confidence in the chief executive officer of the Superior Regional Corporation.
The motion is to be debated at the next statutory meeting of the corporation on May 25th. Another motion of no confidence was moved against the corporate secretary, but that was dismissed by Mr. Encinas. Dr. Ramadar Singh then told the media the councillors for the United National Congress are prepared to debate the motion.
The one that concerns us, we are 100 times ready. And we believe that they have to go and pay property tax on this motion that they have brought here today. Because we are ready to deal with some issues that we have been able to unearth and see some of the wrongs that have been done in the past.
And it's now time for the sports wrap. Nasira is here. Nasira, another scandal at FIFA.
That's correct. Another day, another scandal, another allegation of bribery at the top footballing body. I'll have details on that and much more. Well, a top official at football's world governing body, FIFA, was involved in multiple schemes to accept and pay bribes, according to soccer officials, released in a statement by United States prosecutors. Richard Lai has admitted taking $950,000 in bribes. He sits on FIFA's Audit and Compliance Committee, as well as the Ethics Committee of the Asian Football Confederation. Both FIFA and the AFC have provisionally suspended Lai. The Guam Football Association boss pleaded guilty to fraud and charges at the U.S. court on Thursday. He admitted 2 counts of wire fraud conspiracy relating to accepting bribes and paying bribes, and 1 account of failing to disclose foreign bank accounts. He agreed to pay more than $1.1 million in forfeiture and penalties. One of the charges is related to a $100,000 bribe from disgraced former FIFA executive Mohammed bin Hammam in return for his vote in the 2011 FIFA presidential elections. Caribbean pitches have a tradition of being slow and low, something pitch consultant at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy, Manu Haramsaran, said will not be seen at this new venue.
Very even bounce, and there will be some pace in the pitch. So we are looking forward to something different from most of the other pitches, faster and bouncier. That's my vision at least.
Ramsaran gave new groundsmen the opportunity to curate the pitch, and from what he's seen, he's guaranteeing that spectators will enjoy the T20 festival to be played at the Taruba Stadium. He said the cricket will be better than last year's, which was held at the National Cricket Centre in Couva.
That's why I think the opportunity for new people, you know, we hear like if Trinidad has 1 groundsman or 2. That is not true, because we had the same, the results are the same. So you have to look at something different, and I think we are seeing the difference.
The very demanding Chancellor Challenge from the Caribbean series proved to be an acid test for most of the competitors from the various financial institutions across Trinidad and Tobago. But when the dust cleared, some familiar faces surfaced to the top once again, clocking some impressive times for the uphill climb.
There was the usual enthusiasm as the participants gathered and started to prepare in earnest for the approximately 2-mile climb up the Chancellor. Male and females gathered in their numbers, wearing their team colours, hoping to improve on their times of a year ago, as the annual Chancellor Challenge has proven to be the toughest part of the slate of events in the Caribbean calendar. And as the start time approached, they huddled up at the start line, anxious to take on the hill once again, with Jean-Paul Drakes of Republic Bank hoping to continue his dominance among the men, while Selena Scott of Central Bank was the one to watch among the ladies. But there were some determined runners among the men, and soon enough they were on their way, and after 13 minutes and 33 seconds, Ted John was first over the line, representing the super team of Jamaica Money Market Brokers. Moments later, his teammate Derek DeRosa joined him over the line, stopping the clock at 13 minutes and 42 seconds, while the main man, Jean-Paul Drakes of Republic Bank, also made it in under 14 minutes, clocking 13 minutes and 57 seconds to third place. Rounding off the top 5 among the men were Christopher Sutherland of GMMB and Chris Junarine of the Guardian Group in 1454 and 1457 respectively. No surprise among the women, as Selena Scott made it 3 in a row, adding the Chancellor Run to wins in the One Savannah Lap as well as the Green Mile from earlier. Christine Regis of Avanza Financial was second among the ladies in 1828, confirming her status among the favourites, while Lauren Ayong-Chi of Central Bank placed third in 2003 to move her up the table among females. The top male walker was the Guardian Group's Satiba King in 2441, while Tessa Weeks of Republic Bank was first over the line among the female walkers.
Certainly not a challenge for the unfit. And that's it for sport for today.
And that's the C News Live report at noon. I'm Stacey Ann Providence.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed.
Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. Have a good afternoon.